Hello there, Deesvelt here, and I wanted to talk about the recent update that just came out today, January 25th, for Age of Empires 2, and just hit up some real quick stuff. So, right off the bat, they released the idle military hotkey. I think that's great, it's super useful for late game or for Battle Royale feature, but I think it's just going to be great for when you forget about the 10 Hussars and Halbs that you have in the corner at the end of the game. You can just hit that patrol into your enemy space. They removed scanning, which we've been asking for a long time, so you can no longer scan to see if your enemy's coming forward with archers or vills or men at arms or whatnot. So that's great. Men at arm or palisade walls and gates have been reduced by 40% HP in Dark Age, similar to the way that stone walls. So mainly you see this in Arena have less HP in Feudal Age. Then you get to Castle Age, they go up to what they normally have. I think that's great. And basically what it means is fast castle's dead. Long live Feudal Age. Cav archers have had their fire relay reduced by 11.5%. I think anyone who watches this video is going to disagree with me, but I think that's a bad move by the devs. I think the Cav archers, I don't think they should be in a very solid spot, because basically what are Cav archers? They're archers who have less weaknesses. So what's the weakness of archers? They need to be masked, and if they get caught out, they die. Cav archers, they need to be masked, but if it's very hard to catch them out because they're mobile. And then the upgrade of Cav archers is Mangadai, where it's they need to be masked, but then they kill everything. So and we just saw in Red Bull Wolo 3 by Doubt, Cav archers I thought were in a good place, but we'll see where that goes. Burmese had some Arambine changes. I still think they're a one-trick pony. Franks had their berries nerfed from 25% to 15%, kind of warranted. Atheism is finally useful outside of Attila 6, but not that useful. Italians basically got the bonus that Portuguese should have got by getting 33% cheaper university techs. Obsidian arrows is gone. From Mayans, they now have kind of Chukunu skirms. I haven't tested that out at all. In a similar thread, Saracen archer bonus for his buildings is gone. They now get slightly better camels. Seeing as how camel play in most Age of Empires is kind of bad at the moment, I still think that puts Saracens back into a bad place, because most people were playing them super YOLO for their archers, and now they don't have that. So we'll just maybe they're still okay, but I don't think so. And then finally, in terms of civ balance, that's actually important. Tatars are no longer going to be that top dog civ. They don't get the sheep in Feudal Age. There was also a minor nerf to the cost of a Keshik. Still going to be a good unit. But now they're actually weak in Feudal Age before they get to Castle and get all of those bonuses for free. Coming out with this is those two new civs, the Burgundians and the Sicilians. So right off the bat, at the moment, the tech tree is bugged. If you look at that, there's all kinds of bugs in it in terms of unit cost, unit health. The other thing that's bugged with this patch, so if you watch this, which no one's going to, and you hurry up, all of the achievements are bugged, so you can get all 3 campaign achievements without playing the campaign at all, just for winning one game with any civ. And you unlock all 3 campaign achievements there. But to hit off on the 2 new civs, Burgundians, so they get... let me scroll down actually to hit up what their bonuses are. Because they actually changed them from when they showcased them. So this has stayed the same. The economic upgrades 1 age earlier, which can be very powerful and also kind of underwhelming depending on the map and how much pressure the enemy's going to put on them. Stable technologies is 50% cheaper, which is something that they did not have. It used to be that they got back 50% of a knight's gold cost when the knight died, and they got rid of that. But stable technologies are 50% cheaper, which I think is even stronger. Gunpowder units have plus 25% attack, so this applies to They get bombard cannon, they get hand cannon, and they get bombard towers. So it applies to all three. Oh, they also get elite cannon galleon. kind of a less important bonus for that. But yeah, so all around, their gunpowder units are stronger. Another issue with this one is that all gunpowder units, well, actually it's all units in general, but specifically applies to gunpowder units, is that they have increased accuracy, especially against targets at their maximum range. So that's going to be a bonus for Spanish. That's going to be a bonus for the Turks going, Janissaries. And it could be a bonus for anyone who goes into hand cannons, because hand cannons, as of DE for like a year now, have been incredibly underwhelming. So in terms of their tech tree, they can go crossbow, which means that they can actually go archers in feudal age, unlike some other civs such as Bulgarians or Spanish. There's so like I think what they get fully upgraded champs except for supplies. So they have ways to deal with anyone who's going heavily into pikes. They also get hand cannons that have increased damage. But the thing is, the Burgundians seem like a civ who want to go cav and then have, basically they have a lot of gold options, similar to like Turks. But whereas Turks run out of gold and then have no options left, the Burgundians still have a lot of options. Like they get skirms they don't get thumb ring and they don't get the last archer armor, but since they get bracer, they're still usable. Their unique unit is the Coustier, and it has in Castle Age, with the Castle Age unit has a plus 35 attack bonus, and that's what they were talking about when they said the unit can charge its attack stat. So once every 40 seconds, because it has a reload time, when the unit attacks, it deals an additional 35 attack damage against units. It doesn't work against buildings, but it works against unit. I'll put the stats up on the screen for that one too. It costs 55 food, 55 gold, so cheaper than a knight. And basically, whenever you ride in to take an engagement, you win the start of the engagement by a fucking mile. And then if you can either snowball off of how many units you killed with that like insane, alpha strike damage that you get, or since you're a cavalry unit, you can just ride away and wait, and then that'll be back up in 40 seconds. And these guys have really good stats too. Like I said, I'll put it up on screen. They also get all eco-techs, including guilds. So in addition to the unique tech, which is this Burgundian vineyards, so they can convert all of their food at a 2-to-1 ratio into gold. And they also added this one in because that's not strong enough, apparently. Farmers slowly generate gold. Granted, it's like I didn't really notice it much when I was trying to test it out. It seems to be about 1 relic for every 40 farmers you have, somewhere around there. Someone who's actually, good at like data mining files and reading all that stuff can probably get the actual numbers, but that's what I figured it out to be. And then this Flemish militia, basically it's a champion with a plus 12 bonus first cav. Granted, you first have to research this Flemish Revolution technology, which destroys your economy because it turns all your vills into those Flemish militia. But you can then requeue up vills while you're researching the tech, and they won't turn into Flemish militia as long as you're creating them at the time. To move on to the Sicilians, they get Arb and Bracer. So technically, the Sicilians are described as a infantry civ, but they get Arbs with Bracer. They also don't. Let me see this here. They don't get Thumb Ring, and they don't get the final Archer Armor either. So both of these civs, fairly the same when it comes to the archer range. But they also get skirms with Bracer, so still usable. They get fully upgrades on their infantry, so champs with full upgrades, halbs with full upgrades. They're cav, they're from their stable, they get light cav and they get cavalier, all with full upgrades. So better than someone like the Britons who they get full upgrades but they miss out on bloodlines. These guys get bloodlines, so good there. It's gonna be decent for raiding in the late game with light cav that have bloodlines. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about these guys. So they get cavalier in the Castle Age, but they don't get access to bloodlines. Granted, I think that a lot of people have said, "Oh, that it's not that important." You're getting Cavalier because it's half off for 150 food, 150 gold. So Cavalier is itself basically bloodlines and +2 attack. So you're missing it on bloodlines, but nobody researches bloodlines until they're on the way up to castle anyway. And then these guys can get Cavalier in castle for basically what is bloodlines. And then the biggest thing about this is once you hit imp, you already have Cavalier because you've already researched it, and you can get Paladin for 675 food and like 350 gold, or like 375 gold. It is stupid cheap, and if they didn't have a broken unique unit that one-shot everything, they can just go into Paladin. So these guys are going to be the new release humans right here. Burgundians. They're going to be disgustingly good. They are going to be the number one civ on Arena because you can actually afford to go into the economic upgrades, in Dark Age and whatnot. But they're going to be so good. It's going to be disgusting. Going back to the Sicilians, because I got a little off track there. They don't get Bombard Cannon, which was kind of a debate because they got shown with Bombard Cannon like 6 times during that Red Bull the Red Bull video that was shown at the end of Red Bull World 03. They have a very good navy. The only ship they don't get is Elite Cannon Galleon. They do get Treadmill Crane, which is kind of insane because you already build castles 100% faster, and then you can get Treadmill Crane on top of that, and you can literally with 5 bills throw up a castle in like 10 seconds. It's insane. They don't get access to watchtowers or any of the upgrades, but they get the Donjon. And then I'm going to throw the Donjon stats up on screen. So basically it's a tower that costs 200 stone and 75 wood. And it has better stats than a watchtower in Feudal Age. And then it always gets a stat increase when you go up to the next stage for free. So in Feudal Age it fires 1 arrow and is basically a watchtower with more HP. And it can create sergeants in Feudal Age. But I'll get to that in a second. In Castle Age, the health goes up. You might think that the attack stays the same because it still only has 5 base attack, but it fires 2 arrows, and both of those arrows deal full damage. And then in Imperial Age, it fires 3 arrows, and all 3 arrows deal full damage. So it's actually insanely good at holding map position because it can also train sergeants, and sergeants again can be trained in the Feudal Age. And they are similar to a man-at-arms, but with more armor. And then moving into the Castle Age, they are similar to a longsword, but again, have much more armor. Because they have 3 and 3, which is... so they have 1 and 2 in Feudal Age, which could be really good, because if you wanted to go... you don't have to play into it, but if you wanted to go for Sergeants and Donjons, the main... counter to that, in my opinion, would be archers, and since they start off with 2 pierce armor, that means that they're not super weak like a man-at-arms is to archers or even skirms. Sometimes you'll see a player to counter a man-at-arms opening go into 1 or 2 skirmishers at first, just because the skirmisher is going to deal damage to especially with fletching to the men-at-arms, and they're never going to catch up to them. Granted, the sergeant isn't going to catch up to the skirmishers or archers either because they have the same speed as the champion line, but they don't need to because you can use them to build more towers. The other thing that they get is land units absorb 50% of all incoming bonus damage. So what this means, because I think that this part right here is going to go super under the radar for most players for months and months and months until they realize it's broken. So say you open scouts with the Sicilians. So usually, the counter to that is spearmen, because the spearmen have plus 15 bonus damage versus, cavalry. So usually a spearman with no upgrades versus a light cav or versus a scout cav with no upgrades deals 18 damage, kills them in 3 hits. Versus the Sicilians, the spearmen would deal 10 damage because they would either deal 10 or 11 depending on how it's calculated. So it should go down to 7.5 bonus damage, and I don't know whether that's rounded down or up, plus the 3 base damage that the spearman has. So they're either going to deal 11 damage or they're going to deal 10 damage. Regardless, it doesn't matter because it means that they go from killing a scout in 3 hits to killing a scout in 5 hits. It goes the same for archers versus skirms, whereas if you open archers with the Sicilians, because they get all the way up to Arb and they get Bracer, granted they don't get Thumbring, but it's still a viable way that they could play the game until they want to switch into other options. A skirm deals, I believe it's 3 bonus damage versus an archer. That would go down to 1.5. I don't know whether that's rounded down or up, but regardless, that basically means that they reduce by either 50% or they either reduce it by 66% or 33% the amount of hits it takes for a skirm to kill an archer. And then lastly, their farm upgrades. Oh, they changed this. Okay. So their farm upgrades provide 100% additional food. Granted, I didn't even read this before I was playing with them. Because it used to just be that their farmers got like a 4% farm increase because they had a carry capacity increase. But this is actually huge. This basically means that you get, by getting Horse Collar, you basically get Castle Age farms, and then by getting Heavy Plow, you like never need another farm upgrade because your farms are going to last so long. Granted, they get the last farm upgrade too. They get crop rotation, but crop rotation is already fairly inefficient unless the game goes for like 6 hours. And with them, it would be even more inefficient because your farms would literally last over an hour, I believe, at that point. In terms of team bonus, they get not the most useful one. They get +5 carry capacity and +10. Their transport ships get +5 carry capacity and then +10 armor versus anti-ship damage. So basically towers and stuff. So other than like Snippy, yeah, I don't see anyone really using this. But yeah, that's the new DLC, guys. Hope anyone who watched this enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.